There was no rest for coach Ian Mac, who travelled to the Northern Cape mining town of Postmasburg at the invitation of Kumba Iron Ore's Kolomela Mine. Joining Mac was legendary Springbok wing Gerrie Germishuys, burly Springbok forward from 1992 Adri Geldenhuys, and double Rugby World Cup medalist Krynauw Otto. With all this skill on tap, it was natural that the morning's rugby clinic that had been arranged was going to be one that these rugby players would cherish.
Kids in the country is excited about rugby. They all want to get coached. It's nice to give something back to the people. Always see the appreciation on the kids' faces, so we appreciate coming out.
Good morning. Good morning. Wing for the Springboks, Adri Geldenhuys and Krynauw Otto.
The objective of the clinic is definitely to pass on the passion for the game and to learn from some of these former experienced players the importance of getting the basics right.
Rugby plays an important role in the community, particularly with the schools that we invited here. We see rugby as an emerging sport, and once again it's sport bringing people together and business getting involved with the community and with great guys like these who's got a track record for what they're doing today, using those talents. I think that's superb. We often emphasize the importance of young people and the role they play in the future. The guys here today, they are legends, they've played a role today, and we need to mold the legends of the future. So these guys can hand over the baton to the guys and the young guys into the future. I think that is critical for us, to see young people getting busy with constructive activity like sport, like rugby, and I think that's where the treasure of it all is.
To work with these youngsters, you could see their enthusiasm, and they weren't bad. I must tell you, there was a few things we could teach him, but they were good, and their enthusiasm was just great.
It's good to plow back some experience back to the youngsters. For the front rows, for the supporting and that kind of stuff, we just told them how they must support. For the jumper and everything, it's very important for the jumper to get proper support to contest the ball.
Well, there's so much that we can give back. Things that we've learned through the years in rugby that youngsters need to know, and who else can give it to them than some of the old box?
And what did the youngsters learn from the old box?
I really learned a lot from teamwork. That was really exciting to see how the legends teach us, just like the Springboks played. So I think we will go on in the rugby and try those tactics in the game.
In the evening, the legends were guests of honour at a gala dinner hosted by Kolomela Mines, joining the business and local Postmasburg community to help raise funds for local rugby development.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly an honour and a privilege as an avid rugby supporter to find myself in the presence of these legends here tonight. These men have walked a long, successful journey to build a strong footprint in South Africa as a prominent sport in our country. They are channeling their talents for a good cause, volunteering their time to go back to the grassroots and give back to the communities with their gifts and with their hearts. Sport has demonstrated to us here at Kolomela that it does not only apply to communities but also adds value to our organisation. Investing in sport and promoting participation amongst our employees have created culture in our organisation of care, camaraderie and support, and that led to results-driven focus.
The legends were introduced by the MC, who had found some interesting anecdotes about each of them, sharing their memorable rugby moments with the audience.
I want to start with Mr. Adri Geldenhuys. I actually researched this part and I got a portion where the New Zealand Herald quoted it and said they could clearly see Mr. Adri Geldenhuys attacking Sean Fitzpatrick. They could see how the forwards cleared a path for his fist to go through. Krynauw Otto, a physical rugby player. Can recall the newspaper headlines after the 2000 Super Rugby against the Hurricanes, which led Krynauw Otto flying into tackles against the Hurricanes. Gerrie Germishuys. This memory actually comes from a VHS video clip that I watched, because at that stage I was only 3 years old, and I watched it a few years after the match actually happened. It was the 1918 British and Irish Lions tour to South Africa. In the first test, the ball was lobbed over, and Gerrie actually jumped up in the air, he caught the ball, and scored in the right-hand side corner from the left wing. So that was exceptional. And I can recall the 1990 Currie Cup final. So the Chips were stacked against the Banana Boys, as they were named in those days, because Natal didn't have the Sharks logo yet at that stage. Man for man, the Bulls were vastly more experienced than the players of the Natal team. Then this old guy came in, Mr. Ian McIntosh, a very innovative coach. And he introduced something unheard of at that stage, a sport psychologist. I mean, what's he going to do? Huh? I mean, those tough players of that time, what's a sport psychologist going to do? Long story short, I watched the match in the packed Loftus Stadium with my father. And I can still hear the eerie, stunned silence of disbelief as the Northern Transvaal supporters left the stadium. After winning that epic final, 18-12, Uncle Mac, I didn't like you very much at that stage. His influence has been significant on the many players that have passed through his hands, and his passion for the game and his contribution remains undimmed. He really is a living legend. We salute you. I forgive you.
Then it was time for the legends to answer questions from the audience. The two most popular were about the age of professionalism and what it's like to play the All Blacks.
Ek onthou toe ons begin speel het, ons koevertjie in die kleedkamer gekry, R700 in die koevertjie. Toe ek begin by die Pumas was dit R10. Dit was bietjie minder. En dan gooi ons elke ou gooi so R50 in 'n boks, en dan is so lucky draw, en dan kry een ou die bonus vir die aand. So dit was lekker geweest. Ek het vir Yskorp Mynbou so 'n bietjie gewerk in dieselfde tyd en met die Wêreldbeker, en toe word dit professioneel, toe moet jy besluit of jy wil werk en of jy rugby wil speel vir 'n loopbaan. En toe gaan die wedstryd geld daarom op van R700 'n game na seker R20,000 'n game. So dit was ja, finansiëel was dit 'n groot geleentheid, maar definitief professionele rugby is nou die ouens begin in die oggend eet saam ontbyt 7:30 in die oggend en hulle gaan 5:00 in die middag huis toe. So dis nie net van en games nie, hulle werk daarom vir wat hulle doen.
Okay, is daar nog enige vrae?
Ek wil ook net sê vir daai man daar. Ek het in my jare het ons net R2 gekry, nie R700 nie. En dis net met weggames. Ek het 6 games in 1976 en in 81 in daai 2 toere hier in Suid-Afrika, en toe in die toer daar in die Meelbom toe het ek 6 games gespeel teen Nieu-Seeland. Hulle het net 2 gewen.
Gonna make me a good auction.
After some good laughs and great stories, Coach Mac wrapped up the evening with an auction of some special rugby memorabilia. Thanks to Kolomela Mines and the Postmasburg Rugby Club for a great weekend.
Whatever you scored all those tries, it's in there. Everyone's in it, all of you. So folks, I want to start in bid at 5,000. 5,000 rand. 10,000 rand plus. I'm going to faint if I let it go for that. 11,000 rand.